Oh my gosh. Babe, that's you. I love it.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
and I'm scrubbing the floor like...
Was making Cherry pay it off by being his personal slave. Duke did everything he could to make Cherry's time there a living hell.
Evidently, this was a bad guy and he was making me scrub up all the motorcycle juices and oils.
Jenn knows how to drive a motorcycle. She rides a motorcycle on TV. You need to check that out. She does everything related to like automotive stuff. It's crazy.
You missed a spot.
Oh, what a jerk.
Dumb.
And how much gasoline comes pouring out of a little engine that you didn't actually empty before you brought it into the house?
Listen, I don't know. I was just paid to scrub the floor.
Taking dumps was the one thing Duke excelled at. Nobody could let it fly.
Oh no! Don't light your fart on fire!
Take a turd for the worse.
Oh,
While Duke
what?
was out, Cherry cleaned up the spilled gasoline.
I feel like I should have been wearing a mask though.
So you can get the fumes from the gasoline. It can make you more lightheaded than anything. It's not typically gonna displace too much oxygen off your red blood cells to make you like pass out, that sort of thing.
Without thinking, she dumped it in the bowl.
Oh, Cherry!
Forgot to flush.
Don't piss me off.
Don't light anything on the toilet.
You know what hit the fan.
Oh no! That is awesome. Some of you out there might know. So you have gasoline and then fire. I don't think it typically explodes. I think it lights on fire. So you'll burn your buttocks.
1,000 ways to die, but would he have died? I mean, he blew off the pot.
No,
he
he
might
wouldn't
have
have
had
blown-
serious butt issues.
He would have had some pretty bad burns, but he wouldn't have blowed up. And hey, you never know. He could have actually melted his butthole to where he couldn't actually poop again through his butthole.
What?
And when your skin gets so hot, it melts and then it seals back together.
An armored truck is like
Armored
a
trucks.
bank on wheels. At least, that's what first-timers Eddie and Tyrone.
Eddie and Tyrone.
Up to some bad business.
First, they picked a busy street and a pedestrian called it in.
That is not me.
Oh, a shootout just starts right away? Holy cow.
Getting caught in a firefight with cops was not part of their...
Get down.
Oh yeah, run for cover.
While Tyrone stood his ground and shot it out, Eddie turned tail and hid inside the armored truck.
Just ditched his buddy.
Tyrone took one in the chest.
Oh no, Tyrone got shot. Was he wearing like body armor, anything like that?
That's my question. Well, first of all, you see gunshots all the time. He works at a major trauma center in LA, and you see gunshots like on the daily.
Daily. Somebody takes it in the chest like Tyrone does, then the question ends up being hemothorax, pneumothorax, broken bones. Does it hit your heart? Does it hit any of the major vessels? Does the person have a pulse? Can they breathe? Multiple different factors on determining what we end up doing.
He should have died, but didn't, thanks to his 5 times stronger than steel Kevlar bulletproof vest.
When you're actually wearing Kevlar and it blocks the bullet, it could still cause fracture. Fracture can then puncture your lung. So you still have issues that you do need to worry about.
He stupidly peeked out the door just when his partner got drilled. The impact of the bullet sent Tyrone flying backwards into the door,
And snapped his neck?
which closed on Eddie's
Oh, come on. He was a coward. So the force of Tyrone falling backwards, he basically snapped his neck. Now, but the question ends up being, can you really snap your neck that well and die?
I had a friend, true story, in college I had a friend who was in a car accident and internally decapitated and survived and still has some issues, obviously residual issues with that, but internally decapitated. I'd never heard of that before.
Right, so basically you're severing your spinal cord without taking your head off. In this case, you're gonna have to have like a C1, C2 fracture that just knocks off basically that area of the spinal cord, because you can't really survive above, 2, 3 if the spinal cord gets severed. It has to do with spinal cord injury, not fracture of the neck.
Verdict, do you think this guy would have died? Getting it slammed? Negative?
Negatory, I don't know. It had to be like the weirdest situation
Like
in the world.
most-
Every star aligned and planet aligned in the universe.
Show me how to use your dart.
Here, give me that. All right, you put this up.
We got lawn darts?
This is not
love
me
lawn
either.
darts.
All right, I'll show you how.
What we got? Mario? Is this Luigi brother?
Oh!
I was not prepared for that.
Nice. So he was distracted, threw it up in the air. What was that? I don't know how high he could potentially throw it up, but 10 feet, 20 feet, and then gravitational forces coming down. Can this happen? Does it go into the head? It's really hard to go through bone. It's really even hard just to stab somebody in the skull with a knife to go through. So this was like, again, another perfect scenario. And it might have happened if this is based on a true story.
What a freak way to go out.
But then the question is, would you die?
The heavy metal tipped dart came down with enough speed and force to work its way through Matt's skull.
Whoa, the depiction is great.
And exited out the bridge of his nose.
Oh.
Death came instantaneously.
Wow, so cool. Probably really gross
terrible.
for you. That is awesome and sad at the same time. So that must have been the sharpest lawn dart on the planet. It must have hit specifically on the side, going straight through and hitting the frontal part of your brain. It depends on where it actually hit and what's it causing. Is it causing bleeding in the brain, which caused him to die? But injuring the brain tissue probably didn't cause him to die unless it's hitting into deep parts of the brain that have to do with basic functions of living.
So would he have died? Verdict?
Verdict, potential.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't make enough money to cover all this.
Whoa.
He was broke.
I told you, she is not.
That's my first husband.
Oh, first husband.
This guy was my first husband on television.
What the hell kicked your butt?
The last thing he needed to see was a con artist like Cecilia working
Cecilia.
and running up his credit card.
Oh, so Cecilia's doing the dresses.
Now.
You know what?
Hey.
You're a loser, and you don't deserve her.
Yeah,
Whoa.
you're a loser.
He kicked Sponge Bitch out of the house.
What does that even mean?
Sponge bitch.
And Cecilia went from milking rich people dry
Oh!
to getting bald.
She's gonna suffocate.
Also would help if she could swim a little bit better.
Right, so don't flail. Flail
Don't-
making
I feel
it
like
worse.
it's like quicksand. I feel like
Yeah.
the more you move, the worse you're making it.
Right. That's so bad. You can't move when that's happening.
Poor girl. Poor Cecilia.
Wow.
Okay, but pool drama.
Yeah.
Can you die? Or
100%.
how would you die from that?
100%. So
I feel like this was the least likely.
No, this is the most likely.
What?
Yeah, so basically if no one's around, if you can't keep your head above water and you continue to fight, you're gonna have a drowning. You're asphyxiating. It's a horrible way to go.
So you are running out of oxygen because of the plastic or because of the water or a mixture of both?
Not the plastic. Plastic is like making your inability to get out, but the water is causing the problem.
Jasper was a 17-year-old creep who got his kicks by taking a baseball bat to neighborhood mailboxes.
What?
This was a thing actually in the neighborhood I grew up in when I was a kid. My dad bought one of these mailboxes that was indestructible. A tank could go over it, wouldn't crush it.
Indestructible. Did somebody I know get in trouble for some incident with paintball when they were a kid?
Never. I was only an innocent bystander. I didn't hold the paintball gun.
There's more than meets the eye, people.
Until one box threw him a curveball.
Oh.
Bill Wagner.
This is the Wagner house and you're a kid.
No matter how hard he swung,
I feel like this isn't gonna go well.
Oh! This,
and then a flying shark from his
Oh my
on the disabled.
come on!
Jasper, oh my god.
No way!
Call 911! What are you doing?
But then what do you do if you're still alive?
Don't pull it out. How many times have you said that in your videos?
A lot. You get impaled right in the epigastric area. If it punctures straight through it, it's blocking it from bleeding. So if you pull it out, it's just a hose of blood, and then you're gonna die even faster.
As the girlfriend in this weird, twisted Bonnie and Clyde situation, what should she do?
My professional advice is call 911. Could it be faster to get to the hospital, potentially just driving right away? Yes. He's hanging outside the truck. And if you try to pull him back in, he's gonna get caught on the baseball bat that's in his abdomen.
bad.
It's a whole bad situation.
Would he have passed away?
Is it possible? Totally.
That is a terrible first date.
That is horrible.
It was Minnesota's first
Ooh,
ever snowstorm.
snowy.
He had just bought a brand new
Oh no.
run the
Oh,
engine for a
bro,
while.
I
Okay, wait a minute. There is a reason they say don't operate heavy machinery when you're impaired, either by alcohol or medication.
Maybe it
or
was a
drugs.
root beer.
Right, that was not a
Just
root beer
kidding.
belch. I've seen fingers lost because the snowblower gets stuck and people forget to actually turn it off because it stopped. Fingers are gone.
Oh,
what is he doing?
This is danger. Keep away. Keep away.
His snowblower had been coughing up exhaust for the last 2 hours.
Oh, carbon monoxide poisoning.
Can I look back?
Yeah, you can look back. That is awesome and so messed up at the same time. She can't handle the blood.
Honestly,
even
I
if
don't
it's
know if I'll
fake.
be able to eat lunch. Okay, it definitely went a few ways. I thought maybe he'd lose a finger. But then they set up the carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yep.
I was like, oh, he's just gonna pass out. Carbon monoxide poisoning. What do you do?
So
in
that happens.
instance?
So people get carbon monoxide poisoning a lot of times. Typically you'll get altered. Sometimes you're supposed to get red, like flush skin. Treatment for carbon monoxide poisoning is getting out of that area and then getting oxygen. It binds to the receptors where oxygen should be. So you're trying to kick it off. The face is being ripped off. That's what it looked like.
I looked away in
So
my defense.
the amount of blood and the amount of stuff that came out of the snowblower was a lot more than what they showed in the fake Wilbur head. Those situations, you could fix all that stuff.
I've seen different facial reconstruction. Can you reattach tissue to the face, that sort of thing?
The blood supply is super high in the face, so wound healing is really good. You can't really replace eyeballs.
So verdict, would Wilbur pass away?
Wilbur could have passed away, depending on the depth of the lacerations and the injuries with those blades.
Sandra, Mike, and Jeff couldn't do anything without making it a contest. She liked nothing better than trying
Huffing
the boys.
nitrous oxide.
Out of a balloon?
Yeah.
When the inevitable farting contest arose.
What?
Who doesn't like a good competitive farting contest? They're using like whipped cream, but if you don't have the whipped cream come out, it releases nitric oxide, which causes vasodilation, which also can cause you to feel a little buzzed and altered, but can also make you pass out, and it kills brain cells.
Kills brain cells. I've heard that. So how do you treat that if they come in and
Oxygen.
but you don't get those brain cells back?
Nope, not worth it, people.
Not worth it.
Fart contest with the boys.
That is not me for the record, people.
Sarah got busy with a leftover from the Whip It contest. Her idea was to blow the compressor gas up her colon.
What? She was lubing up the canister to give herself an enema of
It had a
gas.
sharp. I don't understand what's happening.
You have to be really careful because you're blindly sticking in something that is sharp, which can perforate the walls of the rectum.
You don't have to go into specifics, but have you ever had somebody stick something sharp and then it go terribly wrong?
100%. Up the rectum, sharp objects, terribly wrong. You run the risk of now having to do a colostomy because it doesn't work, which is when your colon is now coming out of your stomach. You can't poop out your rectum, so now it's going into a bag.
She gassed up and then
Uh-oh.
Sandra, you okay?
Oh! My God, this is amazingly horrible.
I'm just glad they didn't ask me to act in this scene.
Right.
Can you imagine?
She perforated and then it exploded. So then the question was at that point, did her muscles relax? Because you had the sphincter of your butthole. Remember that whole joke, sphincter say what? And so that muscle needs to relax to be able to get poop out.
The verdict. Would she have died from that?
Not that fast, obviously. But if there's a bowel perforation, you need to get to the hospital, have surgery.
Not likely?
Not likely. Even if you're blowing out blood out your butt, which
Happened.
and I see it every day. So it's very common, unfortunately.
Tina was determined to screw her way to the top.
Oh, his poor guitar.
I love the commentary.
I love this guy.
Whoever wrote the lines for this, really good.
I know.
Her latest ex left in such a hurry, he forgot his pet boa constrictor.
But, oh no!
I used to have a pet snake, but he went missing. He's somewhere.
And he's like 20 feet longer now.
I know. I'm pretty sure my mom took him to a farm one day.
Yeah, swallowed a couple small children. Boa constrictor's good. Constrictor. Yes.
On the opportunistic groupie. Snake was no match for this Medusa.
Oh
So he
no.
found a way back
Oh, he's coming back in. Literally, my snake did this. My mom got mad at me because he got out of his cage and then crawled into the wall. You ever heard those stories, those crazy stories where people go to the bathroom and then they look down and there's a snake in the toilet? It crawls up through the plumbing.
Yeah, now we don't want to go to the bathroom.
in. Boa had snaked his way into a warm exhaust vent on its way
That makes
back
sense.
to the house. Tina began to feel dizzy
Oh,
and
what did he
nauseous. She thought she was just getting a good buzz on, but not this time.
Oh, so because he's in the exhaust vent, he's blocking the exhaust
They can't
to
get,
get
out of
out.
the house.
So the house is building up with the exhaust.
Little did she know, her boyfriend's snake had parked itself in the duct, trapping the lethal gas inside. As it filled the house, Tina was exposed to a CO concentration of as much as 1,600 parts per million.
So CO meaning carbon monoxide.
She died because of the backup, but the dang snake that's causing the backup didn't die?
Because it's breathing the air on the other side.
But you don't think you'd be exposed to some of that?
If it's got a good seal on it.
I guess.
I thought he was gonna come in, she's gonna be drunk, and he's gonna constrict her neck and be all like, cut off blood supply to the brain and then die that way.
Again, these always go differently than I imagined, but I guess his booty blocked the vent, she passed away. How long would that take normally?
It takes actually a little while. It takes a couple hours. You're having exposure that's a large room. This situation again, throw them on a non-rebreather, high oxygen.
So let's pretend for a second that the snake had crept back in and constricted her. What do you do in that case? Have you dealt with any of those
So it's a strangulation injury. So the mechanism wise, it's cool. When you have strangulation issues, there's a couple things you worry about. You're causing somebody to stroke out because you're decreasing blood flow to the brain. So ischemia to the brain tissue can actually cause ruptures and tears of the carotid arteries themselves, and then the pressure stops. But if the pressure continues and you continue to have decreased blood supply, potentially you're going to run the risk of stroking.
All right, so I think we know the answer with her.
Yeah.
He's a sign spinner.
Look at him go!
It's a thankless job that pays only minimum wage, but for Mickey it wasn't about money. It was all about the spin.
Oh.
You see these people on the streets, they're out making a buck, and usually they look like they're having fun.
I just always wonder, okay, you're spinning it around, and it's like open house this way, but it's spinning. So which way is the open house? Is it there? Is it there? Is it there?
Mickey had been spinning at the same corner for a month, showing off for a cute barista named Alice.
Hey girl, hey.
He was hoping his spinning skills would whip her libido into a steaming, frothy love latte right off the curb.
Oh gosh, oh gosh.
Oh no.
Okay. You gotta be aware, you're playing right by the street. Even just being that close, a car can like jump the curb and potentially hit you.
You don't want to distract the drivers too much. Like you definitely want to get their attention, but don't be causing them to swerve around.
Unfortunately for Mickey, that's exactly what it became.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. At first, me and you were both like, wait, there's a competitor across the street.
Yeah, I was looking at the guy across the street.
So he hit the zone 2 of his neck. We have zones 1, 2, and 3 of the neck. And zone 2 is where all the major structures are. It's super dangerous.
Oh my god.
What the?
Push pressure on it. Oh my God. All she needs to do is put pressure on the area. Don't put pressure on both sides because then you decrease blood flow. Not smart. You don't want to like tourniquet everything, right?
So Alice just needs to put her hand on it.
Just put her hand on it.
The tip of Mickey's sign had hit the pavement one too many times,
Sharpened it.
leaving a jagged corner of exposed coroplast.
I mean, it is definitely something that actually is plausible. Survivable if appropriate treatment is done.
How long till he would have kicked the bucket?
You have to lose almost half of your blood volume.
Yeah, but if it's squirting out, like...
It's squirting out. It's not just like...
Either way, no good.
There's plenty of ways to get through college. Marshall was doing it by working hard.
Hello?
Katie was doing it by working Marshall. Don't flash your headlights when your lab partner is mixing ammonia with hydrochloric acid.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's deadly. Oh!
The toxic cloud of gas fused her contact lenses right to her eyes.
Oh!
I used to wear contacts for a very long time. I always had red eyes like this. Like,
Yeah.
I would walk around, people are like, what'd you smoke earlier? I'm like, no, I'm just tired.
We see people who get contact lens injuries all the time. Every time you blink your eye, you scrape away the good cells. So a lot of times the eye doctor will actually put a patch over your eye.
So you're a pirate.
It's our blurry salvation. The eye wash station.
So she's gonna go to the eye wash station. The station is cold water. So if it's already like heated up, melted onto the cornea itself, it's
Not
just
gonna
gonna cool it
solidify.
down. Right.
Oh! Oh!
Come on!
What?
They're trying to say the person slid and caused a hyperextension.
But it looked like it was in the front.
Then it would have just either fractured bones or messed up the nerves or the vessels of the neck.
Juan and Maria, two lovebirds on their honeymoon? Not exactly.
Ooh, good
You
seats.
could say they're in the import business. Their specialty? Exotic birds.
Come on! Come
Come on!
That's not a thing.
That is a thing.
But aren't
how
they
would
chirping?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how would you not hear it though? If you're another passenger or a flight attendant, I don't know how you wouldn't hear the birds.
After a 3-hour nap, Juan wakes up a very sick man.
The medical word for that is actually diaphoresis, aka sweating a lot.
He woke up drenched.
Drenched. So is he sweating or is he breaking his sweat? Is he having a fever?
Yo tengo un dolor, ya no fue.
Don't be getting that Rona.
Birds carry all different types of potential
Bird flu.
pathogens. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Looks like he's about to puke. Yep. Nice.
Oh my god.
Oh! So if somebody's vomiting on their back, please roll them to their side so they don't aspirate their own vomit, aka choke on their own vomit.
I can't think of anything worse than being puked on by like a fellow passenger on
On
a
an
plane.
airplane, that's got to be the worst.
Oh my gosh.
He caught bird flu.
He got the bird flu,
In the end,
aka
a life
flu.
of crime
Indian
caught up
flu.
with Juan. And his life flew the coop.
I don't know how long this flight was. It seemed real quick.
Ooh, that's fast.
Yeah, this is definitely not an appropriate timeline of illness. Maybe he was suffering, didn't tell anybody. It's very common, had a little runny nose, cough, and then it progressively got worse, and then he started getting complications.
The thing about rednecks, they'll throw a party anywhere. All it takes is a grill, some beer, and some booty.
Some beer and some booty.
Why not?
Why not?
Pirate's booty.
Yep, there's a
Little
lot of
treasure.
different booties. Hey, I even like the booty that's the cheese curls.
Just like my
Oh,
dumb
jeez.
brother. Bring a knife to a gunfight.
Whoa,
do not point.
lady. Do not get up in the middle of
We're gonna settle
this.
this another way. So let's have a good old-fashioned truck pull.
A truck pull?
A what?
A good old-fashioned truck pull.
Have you guys ever done a truck pull?
I've never even heard of a truck
I have
pull.
never. And I lived in very central Oregon in the sticks.
Winner takes me home.
The brother who can pull the hardest
Your truck ain't nothing!
Your truck ain't nothing. I mean, all I can remember is like Footloose, the movie Footloose with Kevin Bacon.
Is it still the greatest movie in history?
It never was.
I think I went to high school with these people.
I feel like a piece of metal is gonna go flying out.
Oh god.
All right, it's like a tug of war.
Oh, I don't like what's happening with this rope.
Lady, get out of the way. Oh gosh.
Oh,
Oh.
But in the end, the boys got their rocks off.
Wait, what happened to our skull?
So skull fracture on the side of the head. There's the middle meningeal artery sits on the side. That artery can rupture and cause brain bleeding and cause an epidural hematoma, which then can push on your brain and cause herniation and you can die. I didn't expect that.
That went differently than I thought.
Getting pelted with all those rocks, that is awful.
So would she have kicked the bucket? I don't know.
I mean, if you fracture the skull, messed with the blood vessels in the brain, causing brain bleeding,
Were they big enough rocks to really just...
they could.
Homegirl should have not been in the middle of this.
I got something to show you here.
You finally got a car.
I did.
Leonard finally saved up enough money to buy a car.
So,
It wasn't anything flashy,
it's a good solid car.
kind of like Leonard.
It's my first car.
Aww. Oh my gosh, this looks like my first car.
That was your first car?
No,
Oh.
I wish. I'm just saying my first car was red.
Oh, mine was white.
I had a 1985 Honda Accord that I bought for $300 that didn't run.
Oh.
Fast and Furious.
What do you think this is?
Remote starter.
He could start it while standing outside it.
I had a remote start clicker because I lived in New York. It's cold, so you want to turn the engine on and have warm air.
Yeah. Oh!
Oh! Why is there so much blood?
Oh, his head was missing.
I don't understand the lurch forward. I mean,
I
there's
get
some...
a slow roll.
Right. Maybe it got caught and something slid underneath, but usually you just get bumped and you pick up your feet and move. It's
He
just
must
like...
have got pegged the exact wrong way.
While
Did
showing
he
off his
leave it and
skateboard,
drive?
Todd left the truck in gear.
Nowadays, a lot of cars, if you forget to put your car into park, if you turn it off, it automatically goes into park.
Right.
But
It's a safety mechanism.
yeah,
So we'll
that's
see what happens
not
here.
so much the case, it looks
Oh,
like,
my
with our boy.
When it started,
Yeah.
Oh.
the truck lurched forward, popped out of gear,
I see people who get run over by a car with their ankle, their foot, very simple. But then we also see the other extreme where somebody gets just demolished. They get hit by a high-speed car and could get run over or just get major injuries just from that initial impact.
And gave Todd a flat hit.
Oh, I was trying to figure out how he actually got squished. The head popping is a little dramatic. Could you have a crushed skull squish the head? Yes. Does it explode like that guy who smashes the melons?
Crazy. Crazy.
The question is, could this really happen or not? Yeah, it probably could. Does it happen often? No.
Steve was there to have fun.
What is your talent?
Paul was there to make fun.
Eating!
Messed up, dude.
What a jerk. I have to say she looks fab. I had a dress almost identical to that one, but that guy was a...
Yeah, not nice human. I'm expecting karma now.
Here's a facetious question. Is there anything more obnoxious than a drunk insurance salesman?
A drunk insurance
My
salesman.
mom sells insurance. And
But she's fun.
She's fun when she has a little bit of grandpa's cough
yeah,
syrup.
yeah. Not like this guy.
No, this guy's a tool, not Tim Taylor.
Hello, why are you here?
Just as they were ready to unload on their hecklers, their combined load broke the corner support of the stage, and a human avalanche was on.
Come on. So one, you're going to sue the people that made the stage.
We're gonna sue you.
This is like some local pageant of some sorts. And I was a pageant girl.
Imagine that happened.
No.
Alegria got it going with 314 pounds. Beth contributed another 330.
Come on.
What?
Topped him off with her 353.
The initial fall could cause whiplash injury, head injury, causing an intracranial bleed, skull fracture if that ground is hard.
1,000 pounds is a lot, but he didn't move at all.
Right, so that's why I wonder if the initial injury got him and then just bleeding in the brain.
It all added up to a breathtaking, life-removing 997 pounds.
No way.
Multitudinous pounding.
The good old classic movie Blood Out of the Mouth.
Yes, which again makes no sense unless you bite your tongue, your cheek, you're having bleeding in your nose, or you've had coughed up blood or vomited up blood. I mean, those are examples, but in this situation, did that happen? No.
That shut Paul's mouth forever.
Okay, that seemed a little sus.
You can have a crush to your chest and not be able to expand your chest out so you can't breathe, so you become hypoxic, but that again will take a little bit of time.
Would this guy have kicked the bucket in this way?
I mean, you could if all the stars were aligned.
What the hell you doing?
Man, I didn't do nothing.
He was about to get a major...
Was he looking up the skirt or something?
Anything. Give me a break, man.
Oh, you're gonna step
No,
off.
don't go into traffic. What?
What?
and took him out.
Holy crap! Supraclavicular.
That's what I was
So
gonna say.
above this area, yeah, duh. Your left lung is gonna get punctured. It's gonna go through your mediastinum and then out the right lung. Does it hit the heart on the way or rip through the aorta? Probably in this case, instant death.
One clumsy construction worker plus one piece of rebar.
Oh
my gosh.
that was intense. We see people who get impaled with rebar or something similar. As long as it didn't kill you right away, don't take it out. Just leave it as is. Even though they have a blunted end, they could potentially cause so much trauma. It went through like the soft tissue.
And it was 8 stories up, didn't
Whoa.
he say? So it had some momentum falling down,
Holy
probably.
cow, that's definitely realistic. It's just the wrong place, wrong time.
All right. Japanese game show.
Nice.
I love Japanese game shows.
What kind of game involves scuba tanks and cantaloupes? Looks like she's running out of air.
Oh no.
Maybe her scuba gear is screwed up. I don't think this is how it's supposed to go.
I have been scuba diving before.
If I can't scuba, then what's this all been about?
I had a freak out moment where I had a panic attack kind of, and I was breathing aggressively. And you're not supposed to do that because of how you're supposed to exhale.
Right, exhale, breathing, you know, you have air embolisms, you get different gases, different things can happen.
Wow. If you ask me, that looks like one dead Japanese game show contestant.
When her scuba tank was filled, the nearby truck's exhaust had expelled carbon monoxide.
Come on. Come on. That's awful. Treatment for carbon monoxide poisoning is even higher concentration oxygen, or taking somebody to a dive tank or something like that, like hyperbaric oxygen.
A dirty compressor didn't filter the carbon monoxide out, and thus the carbon monoxide found its way into the scuba tank.
So somebody just filled up the tank wrong?
No, somehow the exhaust of a truck where the tank was like sitting near, the valve was open, so somehow there was gas that was allowed in. Valve must be just a one-way valve.
They don't check out.
For every breath that she took, the carbon monoxide was blocking the oxygen from absorbing into her lungs and her tissues.
So carbon monoxide has a higher affinity to your red blood cells, which find regular oxygen to get oxygen to your tissues. So
it's taking place of the oxygen in your
correct,
cells.
because it binds better to it. Typically, you become euphoric, you get confused, you can get a headache, and you just slowly pass away if you don't realize. It's hard to know because carbon monoxide doesn't really have a smell. Definitely could happen as long as the freak accident of getting the carbon monoxide into the tank occurred.
The real Encino Man. Meet Uba, Zog's prehistoric babe. She's definitely no different than today's modern housewife. She sits around thinking of things to complain about.
I'm offended.
That's messed up. How is that such a thing? Be grateful that somebody wants to hang out with you.
I wish I had the time to sit around and just think of things to complain about. That would
I know, always. Working, and more work.
When Zog finally comes home with some freshly killed food, she lets him have it.
Don't want raw meat anymore. It's raw.
I'm sure there's tons of medical things from uncooked meat that would come into the hospital.
Most of the time it's just like bacteria, and then obviously not eating certain parts of infected brains, right? Mad cow disease, that sort of thing.
Zog is suffering from a bad case of Homo erectus.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously he's...
Yeah, but isn't Homo erectus a biology term for something? They were the mid-size Homo sapien people that walked upright for the first time.
Yeah, they were like before Homo sapiens.
Uba goes off to spend the night at her mother's cave. And lo and behold, he discovers
fire.
Soon enough, he's roasting meat.
Who's had food poisoning before? Me, for sure.
Yeah.
You get a lot of that?
Yeah, we get lots of food poisoning. Most food poisonings are viral, and they just have to run their course. And you have to stay hydrated.
But Zog not only discovered fire, he also found out all about smoke inhalation.
Oh, smoke inhalation. Obviously, getting smoke in your lungs, having difficulty breathing, and taking issues relating to hypoxia and not getting oxygen to your tissues, all that stuff.
Ruh-roh.
It's got no fire alarm to go off.
Maybe if the wife were home, she would have complained about the smoke.
This is not like far-fetched. This definitely could happen.
It might happen.
How long does it take?
It just depends on how much smoke, the environment, all the other factors.
Dude, you gotta get me out of here. My cellmate, he wanted to oil me up and lick me, and he told me I had pretty eyes, and then he wanted to take a shower with me.
Jarrett needs to get out of the slammer. Dan's a man with a plan.
Okay, wait a minute. This slammer looks like Old West days. It's definitely like a set.
Yeah. From my past experience, the first time I shot with them, it was definitely on a sound stage, and they rebuilt an entire apartment.
So this is on a Western set.
Yeah, this is definitely a Western set.
Something gives.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh,
no, it's gonna come.
What?
What?
Obviously, decapitation, not survivable.
It's crazy how strong that cord or cable would have had to have been to just clean.
How taut, right, and how taut it was to have so much force to it.
It severed the spine.
Oh my gosh.
Like a weed whacker to a dandelion.
Whoa! No, I do not see this type of injury in the emergency department. I have seen weed whacker injuries. Don't use that kind of wiring. And if you do, go in an enclosed vehicle.
I was gonna say don't bust your friends out.
Sal screwed him good. The car was a junker, but the engine was a jewel.
It's really scary when you go to work on cars. My uncle that I grew up with, a mechanic, the amount of injuries I saw.
He could get 600. Easy.
Whoa.
Idiots! Chop Shop Sal got to chopping.
Chop Shop Sal. You gotta wear your welding mask.
Yeah, we do see quite commonly welding injuries, arc burns. You basically get inflammation, swelling of the eyes, and just hurts. And actually, treatment ends up being patches over your eyes and not allowing your eyes to blink.
The motor was made in the USA. The chain holding it up, made in China.
Oh! Obviously, you need the blood splurting out of the mouth for it to be visually appropriate. But no, it doesn't happen.
Melodramatic, but it was also wrong.
You have to have had bleeding into the stomach or to the esophagus, and you vomit up the blood, or have immediate bleeding within the lungs. Blunt trauma to the chest, crushing the sternum, crushing the heart. Does that cause immediate death? Probably not, unless it crushed everything, ruptured the heart open, and you bleed out quickly. Probably ultimately died from a type of suffocation.
On one tonight. You ever get the urge to get stupid drunk?
Do you ever get that just urge?
I've got the urge.
No, not anymore. Maybe back when I was in like college.
Did you live in a hospital?
I lived in an old psych ward. It was housing provided by the university. We'd walk through security with beer into the hospital.
Paint yourself in your team's colors and sit half naked in sub-zero weather at a football game.
Honestly, that's how I felt when we were doing the cold plunge.
If you guys haven't checked out that video, check it out when we did cold plunge. I loved it.
Only an idiot would do such a thing. Meet George.
George! They don't do it very much anymore, but sometimes hospitals in the pharmacy have cans of beer for anybody who potentially is going through alcohol withdrawal, because alcohol withdrawal could actually be life-threatening.
With an Arctic cold front moving in, today's game was going from the fridge to the freezer.
I once filmed a show in Detroit, Michigan during the polar vortex, and we were not allowed to stay outside more than 15 minutes at a time because the temperature was so low. It was negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and they said our lungs would freeze.
Yeah, typically your lungs won't necessarily freeze. That's just fear. Whoa.
Oh no.
Increased risk
George
of
was
hypothermia.
flirting with a condition called hypothermia.
Yeah.
No one around him took any notice.
Plus, with alcohol in your system, again, you're not as aware.
You're feeling hot, hot, hot. Right? Alcohol makes you feel warmer than you may have been.
He just seemed like the obnoxious drunk he always was.
So they thought he was drunk, but he's actually altered and becoming hypothermic. So you become confused, lethargic.
Being painted blue, the fans around him
color.
didn't notice that he was actually turning blue.
Your skin can get frostbite, and the tissue could potentially die from that type of exposure.
How quickly does your skin go from blue to black?
Actually, it's more delayed. The tissue will then die, and then over hours to days will that actually start showing dead necrotic tissue.
And how do you treat that?
Amputation.
With his core temperature dropping below 88 degrees.
Whoa, 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Super cold. Our normal body temperature in Fahrenheit is 98.6 degrees, which is 37 degrees Celsius.
37?
Suffering from severe hypothermia, his major organs seized up and his flesh slowly froze.
What? So that's crazy. Everything kind of slows down, and then what ends up happening is you end up going into cardiac arrhythmias, and that's why you end up dying. Obviously, this could occur. We do see people who get hypothermic type injuries.
Hello?
Never good.
Back to work.
Uh-oh. Hey, boys!
Jolene was a 4-star tease.
I feel like she probably didn't even need construction done on her house. They're like, hey.
Looks like they're fixing her driveway or sidewalk or something.
Yeah.
Help me out. I could use some suntan lotion.
Oh my. I love that there's a lounger right where they're working.
I always keep my lounger in the front lawn.
It's like a backyard private thing.
Your pool, maybe.
Swimming pool.
But when you're an object of mass distraction, you leave yourself open to attack.
Oh! Oh! What exploded? Whatever it was, severed her literally in half. It almost looks like the spine is even severed. What? Come on! Come on! We still have some attachment of the intestines. There'd probably be a lot more blood, but that's okay. Probably bleed out and die pretty damn fast.
That many organs are exposed.
It's more the aorta, it's more the bleeding.
Would you kick the bucket that fast?
Minutes, not like seconds.
Poor Jolene.
This gang of intellectually challenged 20-somethings drained their trust funds on fashion accessories and muscle cars.
I love the muscle cars, not gonna lie.
Muscle cars aren't really a thing anymore.
When I was in high school, there was a group of guys and they all had like Chevelles, Novas. They all had really cool old muscle cars.
Mike and Jade saw themselves as the Sid and Nancy of the group, who didn't have an orifice that wasn't pierced and didn't know a line they wouldn't cross.
Didn't have an orifice that wasn't pierced. You can pretty much pierce any tissue.
Yeah. What's an orifice by medical definition?
Orifice is just a hole, a natural hole.
Step into my orifice.
Do you have any piercings that I need to know about?
No piercings here. They're gonna get caught.
Stuck. Oh no.
Called the kiss of death.
When I had my belly button ring, it used to get caught on my pants all the time and it would like rip. And then once I had my cartilage in my ear pierced.
Yep.
And my hairdresser ripped it out.
They don't heal well because it's cartilage and there's not as much blood flow.
The two lovers remained lip-locked until the last possible moment when the cars would pull away to avoid a stationary object.
So not smart.
In this case, a slow-moving forklift.
Oh my God.
The stunt would have worked, except Mike and Jade suddenly found themselves
stuck.
Tongue-tied.
Why wouldn't you just pull the other person into the car? Again, these split-second decisions that people just are not used to making.
Have you had anybody come into the emergency room where people were stuck to other people?
Not me. I've heard of stories, but no, I haven't seen it. Anytime piercings are an issue, it's usually like caught or like stuck inside your own tissue.
Get back!
Awful. Traumatic brain head injury, head's exploding probably. That's brains everywhere, maybe even decapitated.
You've seen these
yeah.
on TV, and now
rectal prolapse, no?
Why is he gonna killed?
He's on the verge of
He's gonna fall on him?
Oh no.
But the strain becomes too much.
If you're pushing that hard in your head, couldn't like an aneurysm pop?
You could if you already had an aneurysm. An aneurysm is just a weakening of the wall of your artery, basically. When you have too much pressure in that area, that spot can pop.
And the Scotsman bottoms out.
I knew his rectum was coming out. A rectal prolapse.
You've seen it.
Yeah, a couple
times. A number of
times.
times.
Yeah. Normally, it just kind of comes out anywhere between like an inch to like 3 or 4 inches. Oh my, this is a horribly false depiction. No.
It was like a whole kielbasa sausage.
Don't refer to it as food.
Okay, what are the main causes? I need to avoid certain activities.
Straining.
Okay, that's why I don't lift heavy weights.
Straining. This is a ton. This is like the whole descending colon coming out. But it wouldn't kill you. You could maybe rip it and maybe bleed to death, but that would take a while.
What do you do?
You do want to get it back in. It will bleed. It's mucosal tissue. Manual manipulation, so you're basically just putting it in with pressure, and then sometimes people need to go to the operating room. Once you've had it done, it can happen again.
Shelley was the kind of roommate who acted as if everything was hers. One of her roommates recently bought a tanning bed.
Cool.
What?
I mean, cool, but not good for you. Bad for your skin.
Very bad for your skin.
Ages it. It increases wrinkles just for the look of tanning.
I used to go every day for a hot minute. Now I just do the spray on tan.
Yeah.
Probably
Relatively
still
safer.
not good for you,
Right.
but
Lesser of two evils.
No one was supposed to go near it.
Just gonna get stuck in it.
Lived in it.
There have been some studies, if you're in it for like 2 minutes, it's actually beneficial. People who get seasonal like depression due to not seeing the sun, this is actually good for them as well. In short bursts, not to where you're actually tanning. So you have to be careful not protecting your eyes in these because of scarring and increases your risk of getting cataract. So just be careful.
On this day, she fell asleep while tanning and got more than she bargained for.
Okay.
Just a bad sunburn, she thought.
Oh my gosh. Bad sunburn is basically a level 1. It's a first degree burn. 2 is when you actually start having blisters.
aloe, yogurt. I think you can put yogurt.
Cool baths, anything just symptomatically. It's gonna have to run its course no matter what.
She popped some of her roomie's painkillers to sleep it off. The next morning...
What the heck is this? 2nd degree burns hurt like heck.
Because your nerves aren't gone.
Correct. So you feel everything. And then, because now all these blisters are popped open, you have a massive increased risk of infection and increased risk of a lot of dehydration because you don't have the normal regulatory mechanisms of your skin.
Wait, she took her friend's medication. She woke up with...
Shelly, have you seen my cream?
This looks horrible.
Roommate's psoriasis medication. It contained Sorolin, a chemical that makes skin highly sensitive to light and heat.
Some antibiotics we give people, we're like, please be careful. It's gonna make you more sensitive to the sun. It's gonna maybe make you burn more.
While knocked out on painkillers, the Sorolin turned her tanning bed sunburn into second-degree burns across her entire body.
Wow. Would the painkiller have
Contributed?
aided that?
No, all the painkiller did was cover up the fact that she was progressing in the process of the sunburn. So if you would have noticed sooner, maybe you would have gotten to the hospital sooner.
Shelly, did you take my painkillers?
She collapsed into her roommate's arms, dead from heart failure.
Dead from heart failure. Could be related to dehydration. You can break down a lot of your cells, leading to high potassium levels, which can cause cardiac arrhythmias and go into cardiac arrest. Or the breakdown of all your tissue can clog up your kidneys, backup of your body's toxins.
It's New Year's morning, 1986, and this hot babe is wondering what the hell happened the night before.
Oh, jeez.
Say hello to Don.
I don't know what is going on with this guy. He had a party.
A party.
It must have been some party he threw. He wound up bedding down two hotties in his classic 80s waterbed.
Oh my gosh, a waterbed.
Oh my gosh, my mom had a waterbed.
My brother had a waterbed.
Lumbar support? Not there.
No, like always moving? No thanks.
But Don was not digging his start to the new year.
Uh-oh. He's gonna pop it. I knew that was gonna happen.
He was under house arrest and his panties were getting wet.
As the person out of the two who's worn stilettos in my life, you could kick those off so quickly,
right?
Or use them for a weapon.
Are the feet attached?
It looks like they're attached by pantyhose.
But the more he struggled, the more holes he dug with his stilettos.
Obviously, they always tell you don't struggle when you're in these situations because you're gonna make it worse. Breathing, your respiratory rate's gonna go up, all that stuff. He's gonna drown.
Is he gonna drown? What? Okay, first of all, there was like 1 foot, not even of water.
I mean, you could. If you pass out in like a bowl of water, you know, you could potentially drown if you don't move out of the way.
Weird way to go for sure. Is it likely?
It's a weird mechanism, but I can foresee this happening. You might be inhaling the water, swallow it, choke on it, cough it into your lungs, slowly drown. That is awful.
That's awful.
Some people collect coins, others stamps. These two loners have taken their empty lives and filled them up with cactus.
We live in Southern California. There are a ton of Joshua tree, cacti. I imagine a lot of people come into the emergency department all pricked up.
Little splinters, nothing big.
In Arizona, saguaro are a protected plant species. In their tripped out minds, they experience a rare phenomenon. A shared hallucination.
What?
Oh.
These guys were hallucinating from the cacti fermented booze, I'm assuming.
Whoa.
You have done wrong.
Oh, jeez.
You will pay for your sins.
Come on.
Come on!
We'll see people get cactus like juiced in the eye.
It's actually like a fruit. I've eaten cactus before. It's actually quite tasty. You can do cactus tacos.
This was too much for the freaks. The guilt-ridden spinal tappers lit out. The first wound up run through by an agave plant. The other met a similarly gruesome fate, pierced 100 times over by the razor-sharp needles of a small saguaro.
What?
What?
Come on.
Come on.
You don't believe that this would have caused both of them to kick the bucket?
Yeah, I think there's gotta be something else.
Maybe they OD'd on the juice.
Could you impale yourself with very sharp object? Yes, obviously. Could you have a ton of small wounds that all add up to something pretty big and cause detrimental effects? Yes. But come on.
Come on!
Brooke was a shiny, good-looking elitist snob who played a rich boy college sport, lacrosse.
Lacrosse. I grew up in New York, Northeast. Lacrosse is a big thing. I played it.
I mean, I played it.
Fun fact about Jordan, he uses a lacrosse ball sometimes for his back.
Good for like muscle aches and like if you want to massage it out, put it against the wall. That way you don't have to ask your wife to massage you all the time.
He loved to beat up those less fortunate than himself.
Douchebag.
Brooke was at his bully best when trying to impress a couple of cute co-edibles.
Co-edibles. Okay.
Nerds.
Oh, that's totally messed up.
What? Oh.
The heck? Stop it, you jerk. A lacrosse ball, things going fast, can hurt like heck.
When the hottest babe on campus goes by, keep your eye on the ball.
Oh, he's gonna get hit. Oh, right in the epigastric area.
I thought something was gonna happen
I thought
to
she
the
was
girl.
gonna get hit in the head and get like knocked unconscious.
It reminded me of this music video that I once shot with Lil Wayne, where I was his bully in high school, basically wearing a very similar outfit with my mean girl posse.
Ricocheting off the wall at over 90 miles an hour, the solid rubber lacrosse ball hit his chest at the perfect time in the perfect place, triggering a reaction called commotio cordis.
Ah, that actually recently happened to a professional football player.
It'll stop your heart, no?
Correct. There's different things that can happen. Not a heart attack. You're going to cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest. So if you do see this, obviously call 911. Check to see if the person has a pulse. Start CPR.
Chelsea was working late at the urgent care center.
Some nursing schools still make you wear the little hair thing.
What is that?
Historical, maybe.
Reminds me of the Snooki bump. Remember Bump Its?
But tonight, she wasn't alone.
Hello? Someone there? Just relax. I know what you want. Just put the gun down. That's what you want?
What the heck? Don't know, distressed patient, scared with a gun, and maybe she's trying to cause some distraction.
I don't know about you in your work, but you want to go in comfy to
Right,
a
with those like
doctor's?
lace and stuff?
Unless she had a date after work, homegirl is not wearing that to work.
What? Come on.
Come on! Chelsea's combat training kicked in. She hit the on button.
So at the MRI, assuming that the metal of the gun is going to be sucked into the MRI machine.
You think he would go with it?
Let go, yeah.
Oh. How close would he have to be to the machine? What part of it is magnetic? Is it the inner donut?
The whole thing inside. I'm not an MRI tech or engineer, so I'm not 100% sure. I go by the rules that they tell me to go by.
These are my machines! But then something happened.
He's got a pacemaker or something?
Oh no.
Flying through the air like Superman right into the MRI machine. It must have caused either a trauma, bleed to the brain, cervical fracture because of the mechanism of hitting.
Turns out our was damaged goods. He had a steel plate in his head.
Oh!
Too doped up to resist.
Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I have a thought. Would they use metal that's that magnetic?
Great question. If you Google metals that could go in an MRI machine, there are metals that are not magnetic.
The MRI drew him into its magnetic field, and he went from bad guy to dead guy.
But the question ends up being, if the plate is fused to the bone, could it rip out of the skin versus take his whole body with him? MRI techs out there, let me know in the comments.
Sometimes a desperate dumpster dive is the only way out.
Oh no. Oh.
Hidden underneath yesterday's lunch, Griff has once again eluded the man.
Eluded the man.
Not the machine.
Gross. A lot of germs, I would imagine.
Lot of different bacteria.
I've read online there are things that are obvious, like a dumpster, that have a lot of germs. But then there are things that have even more germs, like cell phones.
The kitchen sponge.
Oh, sponges freak me out, not gonna lie.
Yep.
Oh no.
While he was getting cozy with the cockroaches, fate turned his world upside down.
Can they not hear him screaming?
Once in the clutches of the cockroach,
What?
Griff's bones will start snapping.
Oh,
one
no.
by one. Eventually, his vital organs will burst from the severe pressure.
I'm assuming that could totally happen. It's probably happened more times than we actually know of. Could pop your organs, puncture your lungs, and then maybe squish your skull. Just depends on how compact it gets you.
If he's lucky, he'll have lost consciousness by then.
Yeah.
That'd be so painful initially, so scary, snapping bones. You're not gonna lose enough blood fast enough to become disoriented and like shocky. So then
you're feeling everything.
You're feeling everything. Wow.
A new way to reform a criminal.
The question ends up being, how far does it compress? Is there enough other garbage in the way that you can't compress it anymore, so it actually blocks it? A lot of different variables that could come into play.
That is a terrible way to go.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank
Good.
Alex didn't realize what he had gotten himself into. Sex with a skank was not on his to-do list.
What?
What does that even mean, sex with a skank?
Oh, we know what it means.
I'll show him, big stud rock star. I don't think so.
Nobody turns down a free ride on Bonnie.
I was just trying to give herself a hickey.
Oh, hickeys are not fun.
Not cool.
It's not cool.
I've even had like curling my hair, burns on the neck where people thought they were hickeys. That's the story I'm sticking with.
With revenge on her mind, she uses her vacuum cleaner to give herself the mother sucker of all hickeys.
This guy is awesome. Please don't use vacuums for any sexual activity. They never turn out well, and you may end up having to come visit me or my colleagues in the emergency department.
God, that stings.
But something truly does suck.
Does it like cause like a rupture of the vessel underneath or something? What do you got over here?
Your arteries.
Which one?
Carotid.
Yeah, and what other vessel?
Jugular.
Oh, jugular vein, carotid arteries.
The vacuum hose created an arterial blood clot in her neck.
That suction could be causing a lot of pressure and discomfort to the vessel itself, causing it to have some inflammatory reaction to where it needs to form a clot because there might have been injury.
Bonnie stands up.
Oh no!
Oh, wow!
And drops dead.
The arteries are going up and the veins are going down. So if you have a small clot, you're going to cause it to go up into the vessels of the brain and then cause a stroke. Will it kill you immediately? Probably not. And typically a stroke is going to hit a specific area of the brain. Typically it's not like all of the brain everywhere. So could happen, just not as fast.
Angus!
Love you.
Angus! The kitchen sink is completely clogged.
Oh, I'll be there in a minute.
That beard's gonna cause a problem. Kitchen sink clogged, that thing's going in, and he's gonna get garbage disposal pulled in. That's what I'm going with.
I
But
mean, I
don't
feel
know
like that's the obvious, and I feel like these always have twists and turns.
But I don't know how it's gonna cause you to die, though.
Anything with metal. He has a lot of piercings.
Got a lot of piercings.
I just want to taste your pancake.
Angus! What is going on?
What are you gonna do? Oh, okay.
Have you ever gotten your hair caught in something? Like, that hurts.
People come to the ER where they've almost taken off their own head because their hair's gotten caught in power tools.
Damn it!
Thinking.
Oh, good. You're using a toilet plunger in your sink where you have dishes where you actually eat off of. Not smart.
I feel like that's cross-contamination.
I feel like that's a bad idea.
He turned on the garbage disposal and watched the water go from one side to the other.
Oh.
He fumbled around a little bit more until...
I knew it!
I knew it. Something caught his attention.
Oh, he drowns. Calm down for a second.
That's hard to do when you're getting your chinny
Right.
chin chin hairs ripped
Drink
out.
a little bit of it if you had to. Dead or diarrhea. Dead diarrhea.
The spinning blades caught his beard and pulled him down into the murky dishwater.
If you happen to have dishes laying nearby, grab a knife or scissors if you have it and just...
I think there's a lot of logical ways Angus could have survived.
Angus panicked, and within 36 seconds was sucking water directly into his lungs. A minute later, he was dead.
That's a really good graphic, by the way.
Great effects, man.
They said fluid in the lungs, so he would be aspirating.
Correct. You're inhaling. Inhibiting the ability to have gas exchange.
Why would anyone allow himself to become a human dartboard?
Oh no.
Are you serious?
You can't be serious.
Stupidest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have 3 brothers. I got darts thrown at me when I was a kid. I mean, not this close, and I didn't have a target painted on me.
That's so dangerous.
One dart, one drink.
So if you do end up going to the bar, you don't want to feel awful the next day, check out Poor Decisions. You take 2 before you go out and have some drinks and 2 before you go to bed. That way the next morning is not as painful.
Oh no.
After 15 shots.
Oh no.
15 shots.
15
Ned was
shots?
still asking
Oh,
for more.
MG.
If you're skinnier, you increase the risk of perforating intestines that might be underneath if your abdominal wall is tight and not that much tissue there.
But then Without warning,
What?
Ned split. He worked on a demolition crew, blowing up old buildings. Ned was in charge of the explosives.
I thought you internally combusted, which I have a question. Can that happen?
We get patients often that worry about exploding.
I feel like I'm gonna explode here!
We have people that perforate their bowels, yes. Typically the perforation is due to an open wound on the inside that's causing it, not from stretching.
At the end of the day, Ned took off for the bar and forgot about the dynamite in his pocket.
Oh no. Oh, it had nothing to do with the darts.
I have no understanding of dynamite.
Dynamite!
My basic understanding is it has to be ignited to kaboom. Any of you know? Let us know in the comments.
Imagine his excitement when a smoking hot babe came onto him during a recent business trip.
Oh la la.
Do you? Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yes. Come on.
This is turning into something I wasn't expecting.
Where were they at?
I don't know. He's on a business trip. Maybe he's at the hotel.
They're getting down to business.
But Carmen has her own secret.
Okay, wait.
What?
It's gonna be $2,000 for tonight.
What?
It's gonna be what?
$2,000 for the night.
$2,000?
I'm not paying you.
And the next thing you know,
Who are you?
Big Hank was there
no.
to add some muscle to the shakedown.
No muscle.
Out of the room!
And met head on
Oh! A forehead smack on a hard counter, right? So you're gonna cause a potential laceration, maybe a skull fracture, maybe a brain bleed, maybe.
In the end,
You didn't tell me you were a hooker.
Wrong place,
Mike
wrong
didn't
time.
get laid.
I'm not paying you.
When you get hit in the front of the head, it's like one of the more safer parts to get hit, so to speak.
It's your personality.
It's your personality. It's when people get goofy or when Alzheimer's kicks in and they start behaving weird. It's all frontal lobe.
But Carmen sure got screwed.
Oh.
Maybe high cervical injury. Force, smack the forehead down. You go snap back and snap the vertebrae, stretch out the spinal cord, and now instant inability to breathe or have a heartbeat.
Internal decapitation.
Yeah, same, exactly.
Same.
That's what I'm describing. Yeah, exactly.
More likely than kicking the bucket, she would have probably just had a really gnarly concussion.
Concussion, big hematoma, laceration, because we know she has a laceration. There's blood already on the countertop. We wouldn't die instantaneously from head trauma like that.
There was something not right about Mason. You could tell just by looking at him. He never even had a steady job until this one.
Anytime I see these vans, they freak me out.
Yes, creeper van, no windows.
No windows.
How you doing back there, baby?
Uh-oh.
Got
So we got a casket in the back, which is kind of bizarre. Normally you see the hearse.
But it's whatever the funeral home typically has to pick up the body from the hospital.
Working for the county morgue, delivering dead bodies to funeral homes and cemeteries.
I wanted to get my hair and makeup done for prom. The girl that did my makeup.
She does it for dead people?
Yeah.
Yep, yep. I mean, it takes skill to do it on like dry, cold skin.
It didn't turn out great. For the
Not good on the living.
Baby, you were so good last night. It's a shame I gotta put you in the ground.
He loved his job.
Uh-oh.
The problem was,
Took a turn.
he loved the bodies.
I don't like that.
Mason tries a shortcut through a parking lot.
Whoa.
Oh. When we get people that come in with traumas, we'll ask the EMS crew and the police, what did the scene look like? Somebody comes in and they're like screaming that they're dying. There wasn't a scratch on the car. It's like, okay, get helpful information. Smashed it.
Oh no!
Straight through the windshield. The fact that the windshield came out so easily means that there was so much force, smashing his head in the back as well as in the front, causing traumatic brain injury that ended up killing him.
Mason had forgotten to lock the wheels of the cart. When the van stopped, the coffin did.
Whoa.
Holy cow. Would this be realistic that he kicked the bucket?
Yeah, it could. It depends on the weight of everything smashing into him and just that force. But just by the fact that his body is laying on the hood of the car, everything else smashed behind him, it's probably at least a lot of force.
With cheerleaders, the word perky is always close by. With Pamela, the Wildcats captain, a different word would pop up.
Oh.
Okay, I was a cheerleader when I was very, very young. We're talking itty bitty.
Expert.
No. But I played a cheerleader so many times in my acting career. I mean, so many times.
Pamela was sick and tired of being out-perkied by the new girl.
Oh, gosh.
Uh-oh.
If Amber wanted to fly, that's okay by Pamela.
Oh, no.
Hip fracture, rib fracture. We say hip fracture. It's the proximal femur that actually fractures. There's different parts of the femur that actually could fracture. Just depends. Could fracture the pelvis as well.
That looked like it hurt.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, trampled to
The
death.
combined weight of 4,000 pounds of footballers tearing up your body like raw turf.
This actually has happened in like concert events where it gets too tight, people fall down to the ground, you don't realize somebody's underneath you, and people actually get trampled to death. You get fractures, you get bruises, you can't breathe, you basically become hypoxic and die.
She lost all her cheer, and then she got cleated.
True Hollywood. The blood was immediately at her mouth.
We always say blood in the mouth, blood in the mouth. This one could, in the sense of you're getting stepped on the face, could you have a nosebleed where it goes backwards into your mouth? Maybe.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and this rave is in its
Snooki?
death throes. Most of the crowd have gone home or have been carted off to the local emergency room.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh, what
I
kind of
wonder
rave
why.
is this? Maybe a little dehydration?
By the way, have you ever been to a rave?
No, I've just been to like the clubs at college.
He was too busy studying. I love it.
No, I went out, I was cool.
A drug dealer named Rush, and
Rush,
not used to
cool
being
name.
so wasted, he freaked out. This is why your mama told you not to do drugs. All logic flies out the window and you do stupid things.
Most of the time people come to the emergency department after rave with like dehydration or too much in their system, either too much alcohol, a combination of all the drugs in their system. Usually people don't realize that everything is mixed together.
Rather than smear it, Rush mainlined the glowing goo straight into his
Yo,
arm.
stop it. Come on.
Come on!
It would be cool to see that you could glow.
But you can glow. Go get an MRI or what?
That's true.
He lit up like a nuclear reactor.
Wow.
And died.
And then melted down.
Say your kid got into a glow stick, cracked it open, consumed it. What would you do?
First thing you do is you call the poison control. In the United States, it's 1-800-222-1222.
The mixture of chemicals and glow sticks creates a byproduct called phenol. Once it enters the bloodstream, phenol shuts down the nervous system
Wow.
and triggers kidney failure.
I've had patients have reactions to their vessels where it looks like that, but more red, not just like neon color, but then it goes away, versus this causing renal failure, nervous system shut down. All of these ways suck to die. The way that they died is pretty fast. I bet in real life, these deaths probably occurred a little slower.
Meet Chester, otherwise known as your worst nightmare.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
no. He's wearing his Ghostbusters costume.
Right.
Creeping on the girls as they're trying to exercise and practice.
Totally inappropriate.
So we know the setup.
Chester was focused on getting the shot until
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
What a creep.
Oh!
I didn't see that one coming.
I did not see that coming!
Totally plausible. Totally awful. Crushed the skull. Traumatic brain injury. So much trauma that you get knocked out and then you get brain swelling.
he took a shot
Shot
right to the head.
Right frontal lobe, skull gone. Whiplash injury could injure your spine. And obviously, traumatic brain injury, brain open.
Chester was so engrossed with the cute and sassy field hockey players, he didn't notice the big and burly track and fielders.
I love how the narrator called one sassy set of girls and the other
other one's
burly. I'm
burly.
like, would that fly nowadays
No,
on
I don't
TV?
think so.
I don't think it would.
Nope.
They were hammer throwers, a sport that requires brute strength to hurl a 9-pound metal ball as far as one can.
Wow.
But then one got away and met up with the new janitor.
Holy cow.
I feel like he's definitely missing an eye.
The eye is gone. The globe has probably exploded. If somebody found him, probably would have brought to the hospital. And then C, could that individual live without the right frontal lobe?
So moral of the story, this definitely could have killed him.
Yeah, 100%.
Sandy is a deep sea diver. She had to make an emergency swim to the surface.
Wow.
As any diver knows, this could bring on a fatal attack of the bends.
So the bends, what's the bends?
The bends, I believe when you ascend too fast, then you develop too much nitrogen in the blood and get into joints and increased air bubbles and can cause pretty detrimental problems.
Now she's in a decompression chamber.
Decompression chamber.
Are they normally this big?
Yeah, some could be big rooms. Some could be small, like tubes.
Tubes. Do you have them at the hospital?
At my current hospital, I do not believe so. My previous ones, yes.
Waiting it out while the deadly nitrogen bubbles slowly dissolve back into her bloodstream.
Typically, a hyperbaric chamber is more used for infection treatments, help wound healing, and then also related to if somebody has like a carbon monoxide poisoning, helps displace the gases.
We should get one for the house.
A maintenance worker at the scuba center accidentally opens the hatch to the decompression chamber.
A significant change in pressures.
Yeah.
7 atmospheres, I feel like is a lot. And then all of a sudden you go back to
zero.
In a nanosecond, Sandy goes from sexy all over the chamber.
But would she have exploded? I mean, that seemed really aggressive. Maybe her organs.
I've never seen somebody explode.
Explodes!
I mean, there's no coming back from that. If somebody explodes,
you're done.
Heavy metal was their muse, and their small 7x7 concrete apartment became a 60,000-seat stadium.
Wayne's
with their twin beds.
Is it true that you can get whiplash from headbanging too much?
Yes, you can. You can get whiplash from headbanging too much. You can get like potentially brain injury and brain trauma. You potentially could rip a blood vessel in your brain.
One night, after banging every groupie on their magic bus.
He's jumping out the window. Oh, I knew it. Our cat, Bond, accidentally fell out of a 3-story window once. But she is fine. Dandy may have used a few of her 9 lives.
Stage dive. Out the 6-story window.
6-story window.
What kind of injuries would you have expected? What do you do?
You can see brain matter, skull fractures, broken bones twisted in all different directions, but the issue ends up being somebody still might be breathing.
He gives one last Chinese warlord scream and follows his rock and roll brother out the window.
No.
There had to be drugs involved.
I was just gonna say that. Get out of my brain.
There had to be drugs involved. No way does any person not under the influence just follows after an accident.
Unfortunately, China will have to do without Li and Feng.
You always talk about distances 3 times greater than your height.
6 stories, pretty high, 60 feet potentially. That's a massive fall, massive trauma. Is it survivable? Could potentially. So like if the second guy landed on his buddy, maybe.
You wouldn't know it by looking at him, but Myron Burns is a very lucky man.
Wow.
A few weeks ago, he was found barely alive, with 3rd-degree burns over 90% of his body.
3rd-degree burns over 90% of your body. I don't know how somebody survives that. All that skin needs to be cut off because if you leave that charred skin on the body, it's going to lead to infection and sepsis because it's dead tissue.
He had fallen asleep while smoking in bed.
Falling asleep, smoking in bed, but you're so out of it, even when your bed catches on fire, that you're not able to get away from it, so you were that comatose?
Maybe he took sleeping.
Oh, maybe he took a sleeping aid or something like that.
Yeah.
He bribed the night nurse $100 to leave him out back, no questions asked.
What about the oxygen? He's rolling around here with
oxygen.
oxygen.
So it's rolling around with oxygen. You wouldn't typically have it on somebody's lap like that. Most wheelchairs have places for the oxygen to be, or the hospital stretcher, gurney.
His addiction to nicotine has made him a desperate man.
Horrible. Patients do come in like this where they need a cigarette. I need to go outside. I need to go outside. I have to. Like, it's a hospital. You can't smoke.
This is why people hate hospitals.
Smoking in itself inhibits wound healing. So we always offer nicotine patches, nicotine gums, lozenges, anything we can.
This cigarette is about to bite Myron here, right in the ash.
That's really funny.
Smoking's just bad on a lot of levels.
Smoking's bad. Yeah,
I mean, realistically.
I mean, nicotine sometimes has a benefit, but you can get it in other ways, and the benefit of it is really not worth trying to get it.
The cigarette ash carries just enough of a spark to ignite his bandages. which are soaked in a highly flammable ointment.
Dressings were coated probably in petroleum jelly oil. Could be flammable, I guess.
Helpless, Myron bursts into flame and starts rolling down the handicap ramp.
Oh! Probably doesn't hurt that much because he doesn't have any pain sensors anyway because of the burn. Depends on where his recovery is in the process. But you die because of asphyxiation, inhaling the flames, and having no oxygen available for you to breathe.
At the bottom of the ramp, his oxygen tank explodes. Myron goes out in a blaze of gory.
Wow, that is awful.
That's awful.
What's worse in terms of pain? First, second, third, and even 4th degree burns?
Probably your 4th degree burns. 3rd degree, you've like singed all the nerves relating to the skin, but then the 4th is getting deeper and then you're re-engaging other nerves that are now being tortured basically.